What up? We are back for another episode of Dub Techno Music with Naturlig Funktion. Last time, uh, I had a rant and I rambled on quite long about my thought process requiring gear in the moment, and I complained a lot about, well, specifically the Furthrrr Generator and a little bit about the Renee sequencers. So I thought today, why not focus on those two and see if they are still up for making techno music in 2026 in the very competitive climate of today. Can they hold up? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna patch up a cool sound using, well, all of the modules, but these two will be the stars of the show, and see if we can make something cool. And I suppose people like who are into modulars might be a bit like, how come I don't like the Furthrrr Generator? And I think it comes from the fact that when I got into modular systems, I think it was 2016. That's when I went down to Schneidersladen in Berlin and bought I think the first module I bought was the Renee, the Optimix, I don't have it here, the STO and the Mats. I think that was the first modules. And because I saw this video on YouTube called Modular Fascination, and Blavan was featuring it, and he talked about how he went to Schneidersladen. So then I had to go to Schneidersladen. And I went there quite a bit. Like I had a very good friend who lived in Berlin. He was a photographer. He still is a photographer, but he was working as a photographer in Berlin at that time. So he went with me as well to Schneider's, and yeah, very cool. I mean, he was standing there for like an hour when I was talking synths. Great guy. But they helped me to build foundationally what this system is. I mean, I sort of builded a very good versatile monosynth. Basically, I had the mats, I had a clock divider, I had the Vogelbug, I had a noise generator, I had the Renee, I had an extra VCA, I had the Optimix, I had the STO, like the oscillator, the single oscillator from Make Noise, and they also got me into buying the Dope Through Zero oscillator, so I could frequency modulate the STO, and I created these really cool sounds. And then I had the rings, which I didn't like, but I used it in a lot of songs. The mutable instrument rings, I used it as a second voice. So I had two voices, only one sequencers, which always was an issue, but the rings was so versatile that it sort of became a voice of its own, uh, and stuff like. But then I was sort of full. I had a big LFO from Vermona, which I never was that into, to be honest, because I think it was broken as well, the one I got, and it didn't occur to me that I could just contact them to get it repaired. Um, so and I think it's fast forward 2 years, and we're at this modular meet, the second one in Gothenburg, and this guy is selling this Furthrrr Generator. And I was a little bit on the fence because I wanted the one from Make Noise, the STO, or the DPO, I mean. But I thought like complex oscillator, right? So, and he was selling it for what would be a good price of, I think I paid 4,000 or 4,200. And it since then it I think, because it was selling back then, it was selling for much more than it's selling today. So I would never get that price for it again. I had to replace a what do you call it? A potentiometer, one of these pots. I sent it for repairs. But the big issue was that it sort of it sort of upset the balance of my system. I think, because I had been using the system for so long. It was very much a complete system. And since I got this Endorphins, the Furthrrr Generator, it, it became like I already had two VCOs, so it was sort of redundant in a way. And it was this, like, should I get another case, which I didn't really wanted, and it was a big expense at the time. So I never really took time to learn it. Or maybe I did. I don't know. I've been having it for a long time, and I think it is sort of, for my playing, it's sort of leaning in a certain way. And I think the STO with the dope fur is sort of more versatile in a way. But it's nonetheless, it is a good oscillator. It sounds nice. I don't know why I said it doesn't sound nice. It's just that I don't know. It's something about the interface for me that's it's like how these pots that you can they don't have like a stop and an end. You can turn on like 10 turns. I don't know. But that is basically the backstory. We're really walking down memory lane here about how come I have this inherent grudge about this, because I think it was basically a bad impulsive buy from me. But now we're gonna put it to the test. You will notice that I don't have an external monitor. That's a different story. I returned it. I did bought an Oxy One. I had it since Saturday and today's Wednesday, so I'm still learning it. I do like it. We will not use it today, but let's enough of me yapping about how I got into modular systems. Let's instead make a cool sound like I used to do back in 2016. Okay, we are back. Let me show you just how I usually start. Here, this black cable, this is the main clock, and it's not like a steady clock like 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. It's rather a gate that I am sending from my TR1000. Back in the day, I would use 2 gates from my Tanzbär, but the principle is the same. I will send gates there, which I then go to the mats. One channel is opening the filter. The other channel is opening the Optimix. And I have taken the final out from the Furthrrr Generator and patched it straight into the filter, which is fully open at the moment. And here we have, which then goes into the Optimix. So it's the same clock. And the same clock, I then go to the clock divider, and I'm sending it to the X gate of the Relay. So this is usually how I start. So here, let's add some gates. Yes. Kinda. You see here, I haven't patched in the CV, the volt per octave. It's going into this multiple here. So then we will patch that later. But right now we just start with like to get the rhythm right. So you can see the right now it's just a sine wave coming out. Everything is down. I tuned it to low D. Quite a heavy sound, if you ask me. Listen to it with the kick. I mean, the envelopes from Mats are just amazing. So I have you can't see it, but it's like a 8-step sequencers, 8-step sequence on the TR1000. I have changed the pattern length and put in 4 triggers. What you can do then is on the Relay, this is something I usually do. Then I would change like I would change this. So if it's an even number, then let's have an uneven number here. So let's put in like 7. There's 7 open steps, right? and we put it into this snake mode. Let's see. So here it goes, like, it goes here. How do you do? You see? That means that the pitch will not follow the lengths of the gates. By already there we have some variation. So let's put in some pitch information. One second. That's kind of nice. Let's make it go backwards. And what we can do now to make it, this is something I realized lately, this that you have a sequential switch, right? Let's put in here, right? Input 1. We take from the precision adder, we take an output from it. We add it to the second one. Maybe we should do sorry, multiples are nice. And we take just like that. I'm not really sure how the precision adder works, to be honest, but it basically adds voltage, but I'm not sure in the details. So people might think like, what is he doing right now? And to be honest, I'm not really sure what I'm doing most of the time, but the point is that we will break up this sequence even more, even if it was nice, but we will break up the monotony. And we will change this. Let's take, I don't know, let's keep it uneven. Let's take every 5 to trigger this. And we need a multiple, so we can put it into both. Let's see how this sounds. I think now it adds a little bit. I don't know if it's good or not. Let's see if we put it up an octave. I think it's happening too often. I don't know if there's any difference, to be honest, but we're gonna keep it anyway because we're gonna try to be efficient here. And the first thing you usually do is you start to do some wave shaping to add some harmonics to the sound. Before I knew what wave shaping was, I thought it was like a reverse filter, basically. And this is nice. I usually like it around here. This too, you add like which order of harmonics you want. So this usually results in a thinner sound if you go up here. This sort of changes the symmetry of the wave. I don't know how to explain it. Make it sound different. You see, this removes a little bit of the bottom content, I think. It doesn't sound as subby anymore. It's like a thinner wave. You see what I mean? I suppose a usual thing to do is like you open up the. I mean, if you would have, sorry for being in the camera, but if you would have a filter, you could, you would modulate it with the CV like a key tracking. You can do a similar thing here with the wave shaping. What's the thing with the complex oscillator though is that you have this oscillator is modulating this. Right now it doesn't because we haven't engaged any. So let's use this to modulate this as well. Because it's very subtle this one. And let's change it, just add a little bit of delay. I mean, you can hear the fundamental sound, it's nice. I think I also want to modulate the symmetry knob. Be careful modulating these if you have one. It's like it's very prone. If you find a nice spot, like you don't need to move too much. It can be too much. We're gonna try. Sounds kind of good, but let's like not so much. We put it into a VCA so we can sort of control it a little bit more. This is why you want VCAs, because in modular system you very seldom have attenuators, which is nice. I don't know. I think that sounds pretty cool. We haven't even started with the filter yet. I don't know if we need it, but haven't really. I'm sort of new to filters in the modular, so this is one of my most recent buys. So don't be too harsh in your judgment of this song. Let's open it up for now. The filter was good, but let's use this one, which I tuned it to some note. And this will now modulate, because you can see it sets further. It basically, it will modulate this knob by this amount. And we're using this kind. I put it in a. What happens if we put it in square frequency modulate. What we're doing now is that we're frequency modulating this oscillator, which we are hearing with this oscillator by this. Kinda nice. Let's. How are we gonna do that? I'm running out of cables here. So I think that would be I think this is kind of nice. Now I have it patched from the filter into the Optimix, and the Optimix has a very sort of smooth sound. We can, of course, instead patch it into the UVCA, which has a much more clean and precise sound. You can also patch it into the first channel of the VCA and then that one into the second channel. You can overdrive it, which is really cool. But right now I think this works pretty fine. So what we're doing here is doing a little bit of amplitude modulation. This oscillator then is cross-modulated by the final out via this knob. And I don't know, what do you think? Does this hold up in the competitive world of techno today? Who knows? I think it's a pretty cool bass line. Let's add some swing on the TR-1000. now I should have been having the foresight to prepare or at least put on the Moog and the Prophet. Because as you can hear, this is getting pretty funky. All right. Um, you should never say when you're having a presentation. They told me in school once. I hope it's not something you put in the Christmas tree. Maybe this beat I listened to it here, just fine tuning the levels for the video, but you get an idea of the sound of the endorphins. You also get an idea of the Renee. You can take this further, of course. I think what I would do differently if I would sit a longer time with it is try to break up the sequence even more. I think that is usually the big issue you have, because it's cool when you get this sort of like, kind of high notes, but you need to have it in a way that it's not repetitive. And I think it became too repetitive. I would have changed somehow something in some way so it would have been funnier. But you get the idea. You don't need that much modulation. I thought a long time I thought that was the issue I had with the Furthrrr Generator, that I didn't have enough modulation, but I think you should have less instead. I mean, what are we modulating? We're using this one to some amplitude modulation, which I think is the best one. The frequency, of course, but I think amplitude modulation is so nice. We are addressing the symmetry and the further with the volt per octave, so it sort of opens a little bit. What I didn't do, which I have been done lately, is using the second CV input on the filter to modulate that. It was just because we didn't open the filter so much. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. It was a fun little beat to do. I remember when I did the last video, I showed it to my friend, and he said, every video you do, you always start with a plan, and then you never arrive to the destination. Today maybe we did, I don't know. We made one sequence. The plan is that we should make more. We should add everything together, but that will be next time. I also said I would finish that other song, which didn't happen. I finished other songs instead. But yeah, thanks. The last video got over 100 views. That's cool. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a nice week and stuff. Enjoy the weather. Keep it cool.